Today we shall be discussing another interesting aspect of the Nigerian economy called the oil sector. Now, the oil sector has done a lot of things in Nigeria, and some people even think that the discovery of oil in Nigeria happens to be a cause. Okay, on the contrary, I'm going to talk about my opinion on that, towards the end of this class. On whether oil happens to be a cause, as far as the Nigerian economy is concerned, or it is a blessing. Okay, or probably it's both. My name is Godwin. Welcome back to Emoji Economics YouTube channel. All right, oil was discovered in Nigeria in 1956. That it was discovered in commercial quantity in Nigeria in 1956 at Oloibiri in Bayelsa State. Now, Bayelsa State is one of the Niger Delta regions. Okay, in case you hear things about so thing is happening in the Niger Delta, this is happening in the Niger Delta and stuff like that. So it's not as if Niger Delta is maybe a state per se, you understand, but it's just a conglomeration of, or what grammar should I use now? It's just a number of countries, or it's a region that contains, did I say number of countries just now? It's a region that contains a number of states. All right, so one, Bayelsa is among, yeah, of course, you have rivers, you have cross rivers, you have Edo, you have Ondo, Abia, so I have them here. So there are 9 states in the Niger Delta region, so 9 states, and then including Bayelsa itself. Now, when we talk about the Nigerian oil, what kind of oil is Nigeria's oil? Because there are different types of crude oil. Okay, so Nigeria's oil is Bonilite or whatever. So that's where um okay Bonilite. So that's the name of our crude oil. Right. So the best crude oil in the world, right, is Tapis, whether Tapis or Tapis. I don't know what the correct pronunciation is, and it's only found in Malaysia. Okay, so Malaysia has the best crude oil in the world, called Tapis, TAPIS. Now, who discovered oil in Nigeria? Shell BP, all right, an oil company, okay, discovered oil in Nigeria, and it was discovered in 1956, but um, production of crude oil in Nigeria began in 1958. Okay, so now let's just go through what is here. The oil sector is a subset of the industrial sector in Nigeria. I think this shouldn't be a big deal because we talk about it when we're looking at the structure of the Nigerian economy. Right. So oil was discovered in 1956 at Oloibiri, Oloi Biri, in Bayelsa State in commercial quantity. Okay, because if oil wasn't discovered in commercial quantity, I don't think it's going to be a big deal right now in Nigeria. Okay, so by Shell BP. Now, the Nigerian Delta region, which is where oil was discovered, comprised of 9 states, and I've mentioned them. So, Nigeria's oil is called Bonilite. And told you that there are different types of oil in the world, and Malaysia has the best. Okay, now Nigeria became an oil producer in 1958. I already mentioned that, and then it joined OPEC. Okay, it joined OPEC in 1971. So OPEC is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. All right, so OPEC has currently OPEC has 13 countries. Now some countries have joined OPEC and they've left, like Ecuador, like Indonesia. So you have that Ecuador, Indonesia, and Qatar. So they were part of OPEC before, and they are no longer part of OPEC. So currently, there is one thing I used to mention as far as this course is concerned. It is a course that is time conscious. All right, so when you are seeing this video, things may have changed. All right, but right now, OPEC has 13 countries, including Nigeria itself. So you have Nigeria, you have Saudi Arabia, you have where are others? Iran, Iraq, United Arab Emirates, UAE, Libya, and so you have Venezuela. Yeah, in fact, Venezuela is the. Oh wait, I'm talking about. Yeah, I think Venezuela should be part. Okay, of OPEC members, and Venezuela actually has the highest crude oil reserve in the whole world. In fact, it's the country has 17.8% of the entire world's crude oil reserve. Right, so we are talking about almost 20%. One country having almost 20% of the crude oil reserve that you have in the whole world. Now, Nigeria's crude oil reserve um, is also one of the largest. Okay, I don't know if I have it here. So Nigeria's crude oil reserve is 37 uh, billion. I think I have it somewhere. 37 billion of proven, um, 37 billion barrels. So it should be billion barrels. So you have 37 billion barrels of crude oil reserve in Nigeria. That can last us for, based on our current consumption or our average daily consumption of oil, which is about 450,000 to 500,000 barrels per day. Okay, if we're excluding exports, if we're not including what we're exporting outside of the country, our crude oil can serve us for more than 200 years. Okay, for more than 200 years, maybe about 250 years, I think about 237 years. So you can imagine. All right, so that means I've come, I'd have gone. Of course, I don't intend to be another seller. All right, so I'd have come and gone. You see this video may have, you know, while you're living, crude oil reserve in Nigeria, the one that have been discovered as at now may still be. All right, so Nigeria may still have crude oil during your lifetime and so on and so forth. And actually, this is talking about the oil that has been discovered in Nigeria yet. So we don't know over time, you know, the oil discovery in Nigeria might continue to increase, and Nigeria might eventually discover that it has more than what it thinks it currently have. For example, in 1980, the proven oil reserve in Nigeria was 17 billion barrels of oil. 17, all right. And then in 2023 became 24 billion barrels. Now we are in 2003 rather became 24 billion barrels of oil, and now we are talking about 37 billion barrels, of oil. So it's like that. So if more oil is discovered in commercial quantity, then that means, and if it's discovered at a rate that is greater than the rate at which we are consuming the oil, so that means our crude oil reserve is still going to be fine. All right, and this is talking about one of the numerous natural resources that the country is blessed with. We have here ore, limestone, gold, asphalt, and so on and so forth. Then, when you talk about human capital, Nigeria is blessed. All right, for those things. All right, so what else do we have to talk about? Now, NNPC, Nigerian National Petroleum Commission, okay, is it commission or corporation, was corporation, I think. Okay, was established in 1977, to look into the affairs of the oil, sector, um, as far as the Nigerian country, is concerned. So, and OPEC is performing regulatory functions over three refineries in Nigeria. Okay, so you have the Cardinal Refinery. You have the Cardinal Refinery has a capacity currently has a capacity of 110,000 barrels per day. If it's at full capacity now, then we also have Port Harcourt Refinery, which has about 210,000 what is it, 210,000 barrel per day production capacity. Then we also have the Warri Refinery, which is 125,000 production capacity is 125,000 barrels per day. So these three refineries are under, they are kind of under the other umbrella of NNPC. And not that there are no other refineries in the country. So we have Niger Delta Petroleum Resources Refinery, so which has a production capacity of 1,000 barrels per day. So it's not much, but it's something, right? Then we also have Dangote Refinery, which for now hasn't been commissioned yet. This 2023 February, all right, it has not been commissioned yet. And over time, we believe sometime during the year, this particular year, is going to be commissioned. It was meant to be around late last year. I think the dates that is going to open start operation have been shifted maybe once or twice, and so on and so forth. Now, is there something that I've not mentioned? So Nigeria joined OPEC in 1971, and what does OPEC do? Now, OPEC is a cartel. It's not like a cartel. OPEC is a cartel of some of the world's petroleum exporting countries. All right. So it's not every country that has that has crude oil. All right. That is a member of OPEC. Right. So it's the function is to protect its members. All right. So it protects the member because crude oil. Countries exporting crude oil are price-taking countries. All right. I mean, the product itself is not as if they have. It's not as if these countries have power, okay, over the prices of crude oil that they want to charge. So it depends on world demand and supply. Depends on the what's happening in the global market for crude oil. Okay. So now, product OPEC is a body that is there to protect the interests of its members to ensure that they get very good prices for their products. Right. So oftentimes usually OPEC gives each of its member countries, a quota to produce. Currently for Nigeria, it is around 1.8 million barrels per day. 1.8 million. Someone told me 1.9 million barrels just this evening, but the one I found out when I was researching was 1.8 million, barrels per day. Whether 1.8, whether 1.9, they are still close, you know. So, and there are times that OPEC might just restrict supply, in order to enjoy some form of monopoly profit, whether when there's a crisis, for example, currently Ukraine and Russia are in war, okay, so OPEC might say, "Well, instead of you to produce 1.8 million barrels per day, why not just produce 1.4?" And then it gives its other member countries, reduced quota as than what they used to produce before. Now, the implication of that is that there is a reduction in the supply of crude oil in the world market. I know when supply increases and demand at least stays the same, so demand might also increase, but let's say demand stays the same, so you have the price of the product going up. And if demand increases too, so that's like a double tragedy for buyers because they'll be paying more and they'll be able to buy less, right? So we are looking at equilibrium quantity and all of those things you did in demand and supply in your microeconomic courses. Okay, so is there something I've not mentioned? All right, so this particular statistics, 37 billion barrels of proven oil reserve, is according to OPEC annual statistical bulletin, the one for 2022. Right, so I've mentioned it here. Venezuela has the highest oil reserves in the whole world, 17.8%. So I'm just trying to look at this. What have I not spoken about? I think I've spoken about everything here. Right. So next we move to refineries, and I've already spoken about refineries. So said these three are being, is it controlled now by NNPC, so they're within the ambits of NNPC. And if you look at their total production capacity, so 125 plus 210, that's around 335 plus 110,000, so that's around 445, I think. So Nigeria's total refining capacity, NNPC's refining capacity is less than 450,000. Let's just say about 450,000 barrels per day. Okay, the major refinery capacity of Nigeria. So if you look at maybe give or take other refineries, these are the biggest ones. you know. So apart from Dangote refinery, that's going to light up the whole place. you know. So apart from that, give or take maybe other refineries as well. So they're having around 450, 500,000 refining capacity. Now the thing is, it would have been okay because Nigeria's consumption, domestic consumption of crude oil is around, I think I mentioned it earlier, around 450 500. So which means that our domestic refining capacity should be able to cater for the domestic demand of petroleum products in Nigeria. But the issue is that you see these refineries, I don't think there's any of them that is working up to 30% capacity. Yeah, I don't think there's any one of them. They are just relics of themselves. You know, they are just there. These refineries are just there. Like a lot of bad things have happened, and they are not really working. So I don't think they are working up to 30% capacity. In fact, Kaduna Refinery, a deal was just signed by NNPC and a South Korean firm. I think it's a South Korean firm. Okay, to revive the it's just to revive. It's not as if it's adding something more to it, just to revive this thing, to revive Kaduna Refinery up to 60% capacity. You understand? And the amount that's going to cost is $740.8 million, almost $1 billion to revive one of our refineries that is not working, to 60% capacity, not 100%, not 80%, 60%. So the deal is the whole work is meant to be completed by the end of 2024, according to the deal. Let's see how it goes. So it just tells you how bad the situation is in Nigeria. For a country that's producing oil, a country that has oil, you understand, not to have refineries technically. So what that means is that our crude oil is being exported out. you know, it's been you can't export in anyway, so it's been exported, and we then import refined petroleum. Like, does that really make sense? So we sell crude oil out, and now we import refined petroleum. So in 2020, according to um, where is the guy? Well, we've used the data before, talking about OEC economic complexity indicators, something like that. BAC and OEC economic indicators. we use that source. We talked about it in first class on when we're talking about the structure of the Nigerian economy. So according to them, Nigeria's crude oil export in 2020, that should be 2020. 2020 was exports crude oil was 30 billion, about 30 billion dollars, US dollars, right? So and we were also able to export petroleum, like refined petroleum. So we were able to export 30 billion worth US dollars worth of crude oil. Then 613 we exported refined petroleum worth $613 million. And what did we import? The same year we made an import of 7.75, about 7.75 billion US dollars. So we sold refined petroleum out of the country about less than $1 billion, and then we imported 7.75, about 8 billion worth of refined petroleum in 2020. So you can look at it. So the implication of that, although okay, don't let me get there yet. Let me get there yet. All right. Let's just talk about petroleum products. We're still talking about this petroleum stuff, refined petroleum stuff. So Nigeria's crude oil, its refineries are next to nothing. Okay, not doing well at all. A lot of things have gone wrong. So then, um, if we were refining our crude oil, so what were the things that we could have been getting from them? So number one, kerosene, right? Number two, jet fuel. Now, jet fuel is kerosene too, but it's not this is like home used kerosene. Kerosene we use at home to cook, and you may not be able to relate if you are watching this video from a non-African country. Okay, but here we use kerosene to cook or in our stoves and stuff like that. So jet fuel is an example. It's a kind of kerosene, but it's not the one that we use at home. It's highly refined kerosene, highly refined kerosene. Then we also have home heating oil. You can also get from crude oil. We have waxes. We have lubricating oil. We have diesel. We have asphalt. That one that is used to make road before you pour bitumen on it. We have that, and we also have gasoline and whatever other product. You understand? So now you can see that Nigeria is changing itself. They are only exporting crude oil, and we begin to import all of these things. So it doesn't make sense. You understand? We are losing out. So you are exporting something, you understand, with little value addition. They are exporting the way we get from the ground, and then we are importing stuffs with more value addition. Right. So if the issue is that global demand for oil is higher than Nigeria's domestic demand for oil, assuming the amount of oil that we are assuming Nigeria needs the same amount of oil that it is exporting, you know, because we export about in 2022, our average daily exports was 1.14 million barrels per day. Okay, now that value, I arrived at the value myself because what I did was um, based on CBS official website, so I was able to get data on oil production and oil exports in 2022. So what I just did was to add the averages, the monthly averages. So there were different monthly averages. For example, in January of 2022, we had about 1.3 million plus, you know, and by July or whatever, it fell to 900 something thousand. Then by December, it was able to rise again to like 1.23 million, right? So I mean, average, you know, daily production of crude oil in December. So not like the entire year. So what I just did was to add up the averages for each month. You understand? Then I divided it by 12. So I was able to arrive at 1.14 million barrels per day. Okay, for last year. So what was I even trying to explain? Um, and our consumption is like less than 500,000, you know, oil. You understand? So now the thing is, assuming we need as much as 1.14 million barrels of oil per day, would have been in serious trouble. Would have been in serious trouble. Why would we be in serious trouble? We're in serious trouble because we are exporting something that is primary. Like it's not like crude oil is a primary product. You understand? And then we will be importing the refined one. Value addition has been made, so it's going to sell at a high price. So it's just like saying you're exporting cotton to somebody, and then let's say you export maybe 100. I don't even know. Maybe I don't know how they measure cotton. Okay, maybe you export up to like 1,000 cocoa, and then you have to import 1,000 bonfita, for example, 1,000 tin of 1,000 beverage product. You understand? So you'll be in trouble because 1,000 beverage product is going to cost more than the raw material. What you sent out was the raw material or one of the raw materials. Okay, and then you are importing a processed product. You understand? So you're going to pay more for it because the value has been added to it. You understand? So if that were the case, Nigeria would have been in trouble because we are not refining anything, and it's a mess. Anyway, not to talk too much, let's talk about the contribution of the oil sector to Nigeria's economy. Now, it contributes to Nigeria's GDP. At least we saw that. We're talking about the Nigerian economy, and the GDP contribution is less than 10%. Yeah. So based on what, so all of these things are based on CBN statistical bulletin. Okay. So contribution is less than 10%. We saw that in our first class as well. Um, as far as this course is concerned, and I think it was 6.63% in 2022 or 2021, one of it. So it's that low. But then it also contributes to our foreign exchange. You see, oil is our major foreign exchange earner. So that's the point. All right. So, and then as far as Nigeria is concerned, what most of our foreign exchange, most of the foreign currencies that enter Nigeria is from the sale of the exports, not just sale, the exports of oil, not even like selling of oil domestically, from the export of oil. Understand? So when we're talking about our revenue from abroad, oil occupies nothing less than 85%. So the non-oil sectors are now scrambling to contribute about 15% to our foreign exchange earnings. Understand? So that's to tell you that Nigeria depends a lot on the oil sector. Yes, that depends a lot on the oil sector. So if something bad were to happen, let's say the world doesn't use oil anymore, and the world is diversifying because of global warming, climate change issues, and stuff like that. So the world is trying to diversify into other sorts of fuel. You understand? So that are environmental friendly. So you have the solar system. Sorry, um, the solar generating electricity from solar energy. So people are talking about wind energy and stuff like that. How do you harness those things? How do you harness those energy sources? You understand? And just not depend on fuel that is making the whose combustion is making the environment more dangerous for us to live in. So if the world just shifts away from oil, then China is going to be in serious trouble if it also does not diversify into its other into its non-oil sectors and make them at least as strong as what the oil sector is currently. So Nigeria is such a volatile country because we depend so much on oil. Now, the oil sector also contributes to employment, although it's a heavily mechanized um, sector in the sense that it uses more of machine compared to human beings, but at least it still employs human beings. So even if the contribution of the oil sector to Nigeria's employment might not be up to 1%, at least it still employs people. There are people working in the oil and gas sector anyway. Your parents, even you might be working in the oil and gas sector. Now, revenue generation, okay, the government, of course, the government taxes on all of these oil companies, you understand, and generates revenue from them. And then budget financing stability, especially through the ECA. Now, ECA is excess crude oil account. It was opened by Obasanjo during his presidency. All right, I think in 2004, so the ECA account was opened, and the initiative was actually good. It was great. What Obasanjo was trying to do was, let's for every year, Nigeria has in its budgets, in the making of its budget and implementation of the budget, so annual budget now, Nigeria has a benchmark, oil price benchmark. So let's say the benchmark were $30. Okay, barrel of oil was going to sell for $30, but in that particular year, a barrel of oil sold for $50. So now there is a something like a producer surplus of $20. All right, so Obasanjo saves that excess multiplied by the total number of the barrels of oil that we sell a particular year. So let's say the intention was to sell 2 million barrels of oil per day, okay, at the rates of um, $30 per barrel. So we're expecting 2 million 30. I think that will be going to maybe around 600 million. 2 million, 2 million times 3, that's 6 million times, okay, about $60 million, something like that. Just an example, it will make more than that, $60 million. But let's now say we're able to like sell um, um, 3 million barrels of oil that year. Although that doesn't, okay, let's just stick with the 2 million because of the OPEC, quota stuff like that, because member countries have to abide by it. So we sold 2 million, but let's say the price was now $50 per barrel, right? So when you, that's $100 million, I think. So when you subtract 40 from it, then you have $40 million. So you save $40 million into the excess crude oil account. So that was what I did, and it was doing that so that Nigeria can plan for rainy days. Because today oil price is going up, you understand? So let's say because tomorrow oil price might go down, and because most of our money is being generated from the sale of crude oil, so it is better for us to save the excesses in order to stabilize our budget. Because by the time we start to implement our budget, we are relying more significantly on the money that we get from the oil sector. So in years when the price go down. So does that mean that Nigeria will not be able to implement its budget for that year? That's what Nigeria should. So in such years, Nigeria should draw from its excess crude oil account. That was the intention, good intention, of creating excess crude oil account. So you can see that with the presence of that, so there's a kind of stability in the budget financing. You understand? So you don't just run into debt, or you don't just run into crisis because the price of oil has crashed. You understand? There's something to fall back on. Okay, we can't finance our budgets, through this because we expected the price of oil to be this and now it has fallen. So what do we do? A draw from is like drawing from your savings, accessible account. But the sad thing is that Abacha started in 2004. The Jonathan administration came in 2008. Let me see. Obasanjo left in 2009, 2007. Yaradua came in. It lasted maybe 2 years or thereabout. Jonathan, came in, was his vice then he became the president when Yaradua died. All right, and then he ran for second term. So he left in 2015, right? And Buhari came in 2015. As of 2015, SS School account had a balance of $2.1 billion. I think in 2014, or maybe October of 2014, we had about $4.11 billion. You understand? But right now, this is 2023. Right now, Nigeria has God, Nigeria has about 373. You think I'll mention billion? No, $1,000. $1,000. That's the hell of a country that we're living in. $1,000 from 2.1 billion when Buhari came in 2015. Now we are having about 373,000. That's if it's not even less. You understand? Because God, because Nigeria isn't even making more money from oil, irrespective of the fact that right now Russia and Ukraine are fighting. You understand? And because the fights, people have to be boycotting what Russia is selling and stuff like that. So and Russia sells oil. You know, now that you are boycotting, so that is like a reduction in the world supply of oil already. And with demand being constant, which is even actually increasing. You understand? So like the price of crude oil, right now, the price of a barrel of oil, the price of a barrel of as at January 26th, as at January 26th, is $87.7 per barrel. $7.7 per barrel. You understand? And in let's even if you want to, that's what I have here. Even if you want to, let's compare 2016, a year after Buhari came in, and 2021. That's like technically 2 years before. It's not even up to like a year and 30. Sorry, a year and 6 months after before Buhari's administration comes to an end. So oil production in 2016 was 1.94 million barrels per day, and oil exports was 1.65. To tell you that we export most of the oil that we produce, so they are not really meant for domestic consumption, or we don't leave a lot of them for domestic consumption. Now, oil price was $58.48 per barrel in 2016. Now, based on a lot of things that are happening in the country, in the world right now, the price of oil for burning lights that we are selling as at 2021, okay, was 82.5 barrels, $82.5 per barrel. But what did we sell? Is this even 2021 or 2022? No, this should be 2022. This should be 2022. So this is a year before Buhari leaves. So I'm looking at a year after Buhari entered, and then a year before Buhari should be leaving. So we are having an election, and we are having our presidential election on the 25th of February this year, and today is, I think today should be 9th or thereabout of February. All right. So Buhari will soon be leaving, and he'll be handing over in May. So if you look at it, now that the oil price is $82.5 per barrel, and we're supposed to take advantage. Our OPEC quota, I told you, is 1.8 million. All right. What were we able to produce? 1.14 million in 2022. Far below 1.94 million that we produced in 2016. We are not taking advantage of this increase in the price of oil. We are not. And why? Why did that happen? NBC is telling us that people are stealing 700,000 barrels of oil per day. Is it me? Is this all like me that are going to steal oil? Understand? A lot of corruption is going on in the oil sector. A lot of corruption. So you mean a ship came, understand, and it was loaded with crude oil and it left, and nobody knew. It disappeared. Nobody saw it. Every day, 700,000 barrels. You know. So a level of deep corruption is going on in that sector. So now the thing is, right now, the country is not even making as much money as it used to. From the sale of oil based on corruption and stealing and stuff of what is going on in Nigeria from the elites. Obviously, this is not what this is beyond what the common man is going to be stealing anyway. So you kind of you have to you are going to be having serious government support, for you to be you know involving yourself in serious shady deals in the oil sector. So now money isn't even coming in. So between January and September of 2022, NNPC recorded 16 trillion naira revenue from the export of crude oil, 16 trillion naira. How much did NNPC remit into Nigeria's excess crude oil account? Because the CBN is the one that keeps that account. How much? You want to guess, right? At least out of 16 trillion, you should be able to get like 4 trillion, right? Yeah, something like that. I guess, right? Zero. NNPC remitted zero into the excess crude oil account. So our excess crude oil account is already depleted from $2.1 billion in 2015 to 300 and less than $400,000. Now, I don't even know what it is like. Latest data. Yeah, so I don't even know what it is now. And then more is not even being added to it, in spite of the fact that the price of crude has gone up. All other oil exporting countries are taking advantage of this increment in the price of crude. But what's happening to Nigeria? Corruption, a deep level corruption. So that's it. So we are not remitting anything to our excess credit account. Money is not coming in, and then we are still spending. At least sometime maybe in 2014 or thereabouts, even Jonathan himself, he withdrew $1 billion from the excess credit account to buy, because then the country was being ravaged by Boko Haram terrorist activity. So bombings here, in fact, it wasn't news anymore. Whenever you heard that a place had been bombed, stuff like that, because it's now like part of part of what we expect to happen on the particular day. You understand? So then, at least we improve our um, military personnel. If we do $1 billion from the account to you know to effect that. But on and on, subsidy payments, paying of subsidy to oil marketers, whatever, this and that, spending on this, it has depleted our accessible account. Understand? Some expenses that you cannot that cannot even be appropriated for. Understand? And what did NNPC use 16 trillion to do that couldn't remit anything to the accessible account? They will give explanation, but then still deep level corruption. So now the intention behind the creation of excess credit account was to stabilize the financing of the country's budget. So while we keep making attempts to diversify the economy from depending on oil sector into depending on a number of non-oil sectors, well, without neglecting the oil sector. Um, so while that is happening, at least keep money in your ECA for the rainy days. But then you have some governors saying, why should ECA be in place since they are already proper government accounts? Is it constitutional? Such money is not supposed to be saved and this and this and that. Whatever. The money is depleted now. It's when it becomes zero. Everybody I go clear now. Abi? Alright. So now after we've gone away from that, there are other contributions. So find them out for yourself. You have challenges of the oil sector. We have challenges of the oil sector. Let me just stop here so that the class isn't too long. So thank you very much. In the next class, we'll start from challenges of the oil sector. And then there, of course, you would have assignments. Yeah. See you in the next class. Thank you for watching.